Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel once again and another video. So in this video, I am going to explain the latest web series from Netflix whose name is The Breakthrough. So let's start with episode 1. The first episode of The Breakthrough begins on a chilling note. Set on October 19, 2004 in Linköping, Sweden, this day marks the beginning of a case that would go on to become the second largest criminal investigation in Swedish history. But before the horrifying events unfold, the episode takes us back to the night before where Saad, a loving father, is seen teaching his son Adnan about the concept of time, a seemingly ordinary and tender moment that will soon be overshadowed by tragedy. Then, in another scene, we see in another part of town, an eerie scene plays out. Someone types on a computer a chilling message, must kill. Elsewhere, a figure quietly enters a room. These brief, ominous moments hint at the storm about to erupt the next day. The story shifts to Detective John, an ex-Olympic athlete who is out jogging on the morning of October 19. John is known for his friendly demeanor and is happily awaiting the arrival of his baby with his pregnant wife. Meanwhile, Adnan's sisters Maya is running late. Adnan's head to school alone, leaving home at 7:30 a.m. Not far away, Gunilla, an elderly woman, prepares for her day. She leaves her house at 8 a.m., heading to work. But as she approaches a crossing, she witnesses something horrifying. A man brutally stabbing young Adnan. Acting out of courage, Gunilla tries to intervene, but the assailant punches her and flees. At the same time, Karin, a neighbor cycling nearby, witnesses the entire attack. Moments later, Maya walks along the same route to school, only to discover in utter shock that the lifeless body lying on the ground is her brother Adnan. Then, Detective John is quickly summoned to the crime scene. Upon arriving, he is briefed about the situation. Gunilla too has succumbed to her injuries. The police recover a murder weapon and a blue beanie from the scene. They also have a key witness, Karin. However, as Karin begins to recount what she saw, she struggles to remember the attacker's face clearly. Back in the neighborhood, another resident, Ante, watches Karin from a distance as she gives her statement and suddenly runs off. This mysterious behavior adds another layer of intrigue to the case. As news of the double murder spreads, the families of the victims are struck with unbearable grief. Adnan's parents are devastated, while Gunilla's husband struggles to break the tragic news to their son Samuel. Detective John, despite his wife's concerns about their coming baby, decides to take the lead on this emotionally charged case. He is determined to solve it, believing the connection between the two victims will provide a breakthrough. But things are far from the straightforward. The investigation stalls as Karim remains unable to recall the killer's face. Despite being an eyewitness, Gunilla's husband describes her as a beloved teacher of Swedish to immigrants, with no apparent enemies. On the other hand, Adnan's family claims they did not know her at all, leaving John without a clear link between the two victims. As day turns out into nights, John becomes consumed by case, barely sleeping. The neighborhood coach, who is part of his daily routine, notices his exhaustion. Interestingly, Ante, the same neighbor who ran off earlier, is also on the coach's team, and his odd behavior begins to stand out. Meanwhile, Karin wrestles with guilt over her inability to recall the attacker's face. The investigation progresses slowly but methodically. The police develop a profile of the killer, a young male familiar with the area, likely dealing with mental illness around his 15 to 30 and driven by random impulses to kills. They also find the killer's blood on the weapon, but it doesn't match any profiles in the database. To widen the search, the police take on an enormous task, calling in every young man in the area between 15 to 30s for a DNA swab. Over 17,700 individuals fit the description, turning this process into a daunting and time-consuming effort. They also begin reviewing asylum patients who match the suspect's profile. Amid the investigation, John grows increasingly obsessed and even missing his wife's medical appointment as he combs through mountains of data. A month goes by with no significant leads. During this time, Ante sees Karin at a supermarket and once again abruptly runs away. Suspicious Karin tries to follow him but loses track. As tensions rises, John explores a new angle. He questions Adnan family, hinting at possible religious or cultural motive due to the nature of the stab wounds. As the attacker stabs Adnan on his bum, his suggestion shocks and offends the family, who firmly deny any such practices. Realizing his mistake, John apologizes and vows to find the killer. Desperation drives John to consider using witness hypnosis to jog Karin's memory. Though her husband is skeptical, but Karin readily agrees and determined to help. Under hypnosis, she relives the traumatic morning, As the session progresses, she blames herself for not stepping into to stop the killer. But as she pushes through her guilt, a crucial breakthrough occurs and she confirms the killer's blue beanie. Finally, as the hypnotist urges her to focus, Karin declares she can see the killer's face. And with that chilling revelation, episode 1 of The Breakthrough comes to an gripping end. Stay tuned for the next episode to see how things and investigation move forward. Till then, I'm signing off. Like the video and subscribe the channel.